Previously, we saw the Lord use a family member to assist Moses. We saw Moses' father-in-law bring Moses' wife and his kids back to him and provide wisdom and counsel and guidance to assist. And then he left. It was cool story. But what's going to happen next? Exodus 19:1. In the 3rd month after the Israelites left the land of Egypt, the same day they came into the wilderness of Sinai. 19:2. When they had departed from Rephidim and had come to the wilderness of Sinai, they encamped there before the mountain. Here we go. This took a very long time. I guess more than 3 months. For Moses, he got his training at Mount Sinai. He left. He got the Egyptians to release the Israelites from their bondage. And now they've been on a journey. And here we go. We've come full circle. Moses has returned to Mount Sinai. Now he's no longer alone. He has the Israelites with him. Although I guess he wasn't alone before, for the Lord was with him. But now it's kind of come to the conclusion of what they initially discussed between the burning bush and Moses, of bringing the people there to that location, as commanded and as directed by God. Exodus 19:3. And Moses went up to God, and the Lord called to him out of the mountain, "Say this to the house of Jacob, and tell the Israelites." 19:4. You have seen what I did to the Egyptians, and how I bore you on eagle's wings, and brought you to myself. 19:5. Now therefore, if you will obey my voice in truth and keep my covenant, then you shall be my own particular possession and treasure from among and above all people, for all the earth is mine. Here we see the Lord presenting Moses with a choice, whether or not Moses wants to choose to obey the Lord or decide to kind of do his own thing. And I don't know what that would look like, but doing something different than what God has asked him to do. And God's saying, well, you listen to me. I was the one that delivered you out of Egypt. You saw all those wonderful miracles in Egypt. You saw the Red Sea, parting the sea. In the wilderness, providing food and water to the Israelites and looking after them, providing wisdom and direction to Moses along this entire journey. God was looking after Moses. And Moses, he knows that. I don't think he's delusional or something. Like, well, maybe that was just No, Moses knew what was going on. And God has given him a choice, an opportunity. I think at this point in time, if Moses decided he wanted to do something else, God would have got someone else to take over from him. Exodus 19:6. And you shall be to me a kingdom of priests, a holy nation, consecrated, set apart to the worship of God. These are the words you shall speak to the Israelites. So this is a continuation. The Lord is going to use Moses and the Israelites to create this holy nation that's separated, set apart, distinct from the rest of the world. We're going to have the nation of Israel. And the job of Israel is going to be the worship of the Lord. The long-term function of Israel is to provide the Messiah, to give people the opportunity to build a relationship with God, to rebuild the relationship that was broken in the Garden of Eden. Exodus 19:7. So Moses called for the elders of the people and told them all these words which the Lord commanded him. 19:8. And all the people answered together and said, all that the Lord has spoken we will do. And Moses reported the words of the people to the Lord. So we have the Lord explaining all these wondrous things to Moses. And then Moses explaining them to the elders of the people. And the elders of the people, they're agreeing to it. They think this is a good idea. And then Moses is reporting back to the Lord that they agreed to these things. The Lord already knew what they were going to do ahead of time. But again, this was about the choice These people had to make the choice to do this. The Lord wasn't going to force them to do this. If they said no, he'd have to figure something else out. But in this case, in this instant, the people agreed, and that's the path that the world took. Exodus 19:9. And the Lord said to Moses, Behold, I come to you in a thick cloud, that the people may hear when I speak with you, and believe you and remain steadfast forever. Then Moses told the words of the people to the Lord. So here we have the Lord coming to communicate to the people. People are going to ask questions. Moses is going to present the questions to the Lord, and the Lord is going to answer them. He has to come in the form of this thick cloud, so people can't gaze upon him. For the Lord is incredibly holy, and it is likely that if he was not wearing this veil of this cloud, that it would be destructive, for his holiness is just so great that it would overwhelm the people, and it might cause them severe harm and destruction. So he's wearing this veil for the safety of the people. Exodus 19:10. And the Lord said to Moses, Go and sanctify the people. Set them apart for God today and tomorrow, and let them wash their clothes. 19:11. And be ready by the third day, for the third day the Lord will come down upon Mount Sinai in the cloud, in the sight of all the people. So the Israelites, they had to take multiple days to prepare for the visit of the Lord. They had to get themselves cleaned up. They couldn't come there in dirt and rags. They couldn't present themselves before the Lord in such a state. They had to be prepared and clean beforehand. This is a big deal. This is not just some ceremonial thing or some little typecast thing. All right, this is the real deal. This is the Lord coming down on Mount Sinai to communicate with the people. This is just one of those incredible events. Exodus 19:12. And you shall set bounds for the people round about, saying, Take heed that you go not up into the mountain, or touch the border of it. Whoever touches the mountain shall surely be put to death. It almost feels like there's some type of radiation, something about the presence of God, that there's just a force that just oozes out from his physical being, or the form that he's taking here, that if anyone's exposed to it, it could be very damaging and harmful. So if they go up the mountain before he's ready, before he's clothed in this cloud or mist or whatever it is, that it could be very damaging to the people that go up. And it could be something that spreads as well, like some sort of radiation sickness or something, where it's like people go up there and they get irradiated, and then they come down, and then it could spread to other people, and it could damage a whole lot of people. And I have the feeling that the holiness of God is something that is a persistent effect, so that if someone got exposed to it, that effect would never go away. So it would be as if they were irradiated forever, and it could be very damaging. So anyone that goes up there or is trying to go up there, even animals, that they gotta put them down, they gotta destroy them, for the damage that this event could do is just that tremendous. For the holiness of God is so great that it just destroys unholy objects, which would be the people that have no concept of holiness. And they were kicked out of the garden after they ate the knowledge of good and evil fruit, right? So there's some sort of effect in there that they couldn't be in that presence anymore, and it was for their own safety that they were removed. So something's going on there. This is a big deal. This is not something surface level and just for appearance. There's something more here. Exodus 19:13. No hand shall touch it, or the offender, but he shall surely be stoned or shot with arrows. Whether beast or man, he shall not live. When the trumpet sounds a long blast, they shall come up to the mountain. Not saying the god's made of asbestos or uranium, but I mean, we could have molecules that are outside of our periodic table that could just be very hazardous. And, you know, we know that God dwells outside the physical realm, so it is possible that there's something more going on there. And I think there could be something to that. Exodus 19 and 14. So Moses went down from the mountain to the people and sanctified them, set them apart for God, and they washed their clothes. 19 and 15. And he said to the people, be ready for the day after tomorrow. Do not go near a woman. So Moses has come down from the mountain and he's explaining these things to the people, getting them all cleaned up and prepared for this event of meeting the holy God. And we have this restriction placed upon being near a woman. Now this, I think, is something along the lines of an extension of the previously instated process of the circumcision. That the circumcision is kind of a sexual thing. It was a process that was done for Abraham and his descendants to separate them from the world. A way of consecrating them, that they are not like everybody else, that they are set apart and different. And of course, where the circumcision takes place is in the male reproductive organ. So there's something going on there. So we have this forbidding of going near women, God doesn't want these guys to be, preoccupied with certain things of the more dainty flesh. He wants them to be consecrated, separated in holiness, and not just having crazy events. Exodus 19 and 16. The third morning there were thunders and lightning, and a thick cloud upon the mountain, and a very loud trumpet blast, so that all the people in the camp trembled. 19 and 17. Then Moses brought the people from the camp to meet God, and they stood at the foot of the mountain. So it was quite a process to get ready for this occasion. And now we have a great giant storm. I don't think the people of Israel got as much sleep as they would like. They were probably nervous for this event, for this is one massive storm. And these people, they experienced the storm in Egypt. They knew what a big storm was. And this was enough to get them woken up or shooken. They were a little bit scared, trembling in their boots. And here we go. They're lining up at the bottom of the mountain. Exodus 19:18. Mount Sinai was wrapped in smoke, for the Lord descended upon it in fire. Its smoke ascended like that of a furnace, and the whole mountain quaked greatly. You can just picture this. The Israelites, they're a little bit nervous. What's going on here? Crazy storm. What's going on here? And then they gaze at the mountain. They look at it and they see this tremendous event, visually just very striking. And then they're probably almost knocked over from the quaking of the earth, unable to stand up straight, for everything is moving all over the place. Just a massive earthquake and just tremendous visual spectacle of the Lord descending down towards the peak of the mountain. I wonder if it was simultaneous, that as they heard the trumpet blast, they saw this great event before their eyes. Exodus 19 and 19. As the trumpet blast grew louder and louder, Moses spoke, and God answered him with a voice. In the movies, they always demonstrate God as speaking with this booming, great, gravelly voice that is just more intense than anything imaginable. But I don't think that's how God would sound. I think it would be the sound of like a loving father who's concerned with the well-being and situation of his son and his family members. Just a voice of compassion, a voice of empathy, a voice of understanding, a voice of reason, one who understands more than that of existence itself. Wisdom beyond all, love beyond all, not a violent drill sergeant looking to chew you out. Exodus 19 and 20. The Lord came down upon Mount Sinai to the top of the mountain, and the Lord called Moses to go to the top of the mountain, and Moses went up. So we have the Israelites at the bottom of the mountain. Moses is down there with them, and God calls Moses to go up and see him, to come closer, so he doesn't need to yell all the way down the mountain. Doing a little bit of Googling,
It's approximately 4 hours for a round trip to go to the top of Sinai and come back. And depending on the route you go, going up might be between 2 and maybe like 3 hours if you take the more gentle route. But we don't really know which route Moses would have took up, but he's got to have some strong legs to be able to make this journey, and he's going to have to go up and down this mountain a few times, it looks like. Exodus 19 and 21. The Lord said to Moses, "Go down and warn the people, lest they break through to the Lord to gaze, and many of them perish." 19 and 22. And also let the people who come near to the Lord sanctify, set apart themselves for God, lest the Lord break forth against them. So Moses makes this giant journey up to see God on the top of Mount Sinai. I guess it's not really a giant journey, but a journey nevertheless. And the first thing God does is he's concerned with the people, that they don't get too close and get caught up in this and get destroyed by the presence of the Lord. And he wants the priests, they need to sanctify themselves. And this is important. God does not want anybody to get destroyed at this juncture in time. He doesn't want people to be caught up in his holiness and perish as a result. Exodus 19 and 23. And Moses said to the Lord, "The people cannot come up to Mount Sinai, for you yourself charged us, saying, set bounds about the mountain and sanctify it, set it apart for God." Moses' response to God's warning is to state that they've already set up a system to prevent people from coming up the mountain and being exposed to God's holiness and perishing. That they've got barriers in place and they're preventing people from coming up. I'm sure Moses, he probably got a couple of the guys he could trust. Maybe some of those leaders, those judges that we saw in the previous chapter to judge over the groups of people. That he set some of them up in different positions to prevent people from climbing up the mountain, to prevent people from breaking God's ordinance and causing destruction upon them. Exodus 19:24. Then the Lord said to him, "Go, get down, and you shall come up, you and Aaron with you. But let not the priest and the people break through to come up to the Lord, lest he break forth against them." 19 and 25. So Moses went down to the people and told them. So I almost wonder if it's one of those scenarios that Moses is waiting for more instruction, and all he gets is the instruction to prevent the people from climbing up the mountain. The Lord must have said this for a reason. I wonder if they would have continued their conversation, if there would have been some people to sneak up to see if things were okay. And Moses essentially had to go back down the mountain to assure the people that he was fine and that he was communicating with God and the situation was okay. For if he didn't come down, maybe somebody would have came up after him and they would have had to have been destroyed. So there's probably some reason or some purpose why this is the first instruction of God, and that Moses had to do a double journey up and down just to reassure the people that everything was okay and that he was communicating with God and that nobody can climb up here, nobody can come and see him. And of course, he had to go get his brother as well. He had to go down there, get Aaron to come up with him so that he would be able to be a part of this event that we'll see in the next chapter, for we're at the end of this one. And I have to admit that this is just getting started and getting pretty cool, so I'm excited to see the next chapter.